Hello middle one and welcome to another video. In this video we will complete the discussion about the density. As we said before, the density of an object is one of the most important and easily measured physical properties that can differentiate between different kinds of substances. And also the densities are widely used to identify pure substances, which we will discuss in this or the next few minutes later. And also it used to characterize and estimate the composition of many kinds of mixture. So the purpose of this lesson is to show how the densities are defined and also measured. First, we will start the general meaning of density. The density is the amount of anything per unit of volume. One more time, what is the density? The density is the amount of anything or any substance per a unit of volume. But how it works? How does the density work? The density usually is the measure of how compact the mass in a substance or object is. The density can be measured by using an equation that mass divided by the volume. Then we go into the reason for some object sink and other object float. So the reason for sink or float of the objects is density. To make it easier for you, I will divide the concepts into two parts. We will start first with if we have substances and we compare between the things or the substances that inside the water. So we make the composition between the object inside the water. When the object substances density is less than the densities of water, so these substances will be float. One more time. We will compare the density of the water with the density of substances or group of things or group of matters inside the water. When the densities of substances is less than the density of water, so the object will be float like in this figure. In the second side or the other side, when we have substances or objects inside the air or in the atmospheric air, and in this case we will compare between the density of the air and the density of the substances. So when the substance's density is less than the density of air, then the things will be float or can be fly in the air. On the other hand, when we compare the same substances or other substances in the air, and we find out that the density of these substances is more than the density of air, the object will be sink. So to sum it up, when the object density is less than, so it will be float. When the object or substances or matters densities more than the water or the air, so it will be sink inside them. So to calculate the density and find out the suitable formula or the equation for the density, we have the mass and we have volume. So the two factors that affect on the density, we have the mass and we have the volume. And this is a time for doing some application. I will show you some problems over here, and we're gonna to solve them step by step together to make sure that we understand the concepts and we can choose the suitable formula for each problem. Okay, we will start with the first problem that telling us that the mass of an object is 8 grams. So the mass is 8 grams. We have the given first First, we will start with 8 gram as a mass. Mass equal 8 grams. And the density of this object equals 0.5 gram per cubic centimeter. So we have the density equals 0.5 gram per cubic centimeter. Calculate the volume. So we get the volume by using this formula or this equation to find out the volume. So yes, we will hide the volume and get the density divide the mass. Okay, very good. So we'll get the answer. If you focus with me and imagine, we have investigation. We have 2 cubes. In this figure, we can say that the 2 cubes is exactly in the same size. So we have the same size of 2 cubes, one of them from the wood and the other from iron, for example. What do you think? If we weight the 2 cubes in the same time, do you think the 2 cubes will be in the same mass, with the same mass? No, of course not. So we have 2 different materials. We have a cube of wood and other cube of iron. So in the case of different substances, and in same time we have equal volumes or equal sizes of the different substances, as we said before. So we have different masses. So when we weight the 2 cubes, we will find that they have different masses when they have equal volumes and they are different substances. In other hand, we have 2 cubes, and we can say that 2 equals masses of 2 different materials of cubes. So we have, for example, this cube mass is 1 gram and this cube is also 1 gram. But in the case of different substances, it's impossible to be equal volumes. So it will have different volume. We can conclude from that in the case of different substances, each substance has its own density. How it come? Because once it will between 2 different materials, they have equal volume but they have different masses. So the number of density would be different. And the other side or other case, when 2 cubes is equal masses, it will be different substances in different volumes. So also the density of each of them or the density of each substance will be different number